everyone, welcome back to the TVN Severe Weather Recap. My name is Lily Dixon and today is Wednesday, June 10th, and we're going to be taking a look at yesterday, which was June 9th. So looking at this map, you can see that the southeastern portions of the United States were extremely busy yesterday, and as well as the northern and the northwestern portions of the United States. And we also had one isolated event in the New England area. But we really did not see much activity yesterday in the central portions of the United States, extending from the west to the eastern portion of the United States, which is kind of interesting. So let's take a look at this severe event that we had in New England. As you can see, there was a lot of wind damage reports with trees and branches down, as well as some power lines. And we also had one tornado confirmed here in the eastern portions of New York, where this ended up being confirmed as an EF0. So that's pretty interesting. As we move on from there, let's take a look at the southeastern portion of the United States, where again we had a lot of activity. As you can see, there was a lot of hail detected in most of these areas and up to some pretty large hail. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. In North Carolina, we had up to 2.5 inches of hail detected in south of Greenville. We also had a spotter hail report of 0.75 inches, and we had a couple wind damage reports too in North Carolina. And it's basically the same story in South Carolina, where we had a couple wind damage reports with trees and power lines down, and one wind report of 40 miles per hour. And let's go ahead and take a look at the southern portions of South Carolina as well as Georgia. So moving from Savannah up to Charleston, you can see that it was pretty active with a lot of wind damage reports, and we had some pretty large hail detections here too of 2.25 inches, and we also had a couple spotter hail reports in this area as well of just pea-sized hail. But moving on from there, you can see in the metro Atlanta area, it got hit pretty hard with a lot of hail. We had some very large hail detections here, up to 3 inches of hail just south of Athens, which is pretty large for that area. And then we also had some spotter hail reports just south of Atlanta of 0.75 inches. And we also had some flooding in Conyers, Georgia. And here you can see some pictures of this from the Conyers Police Department. As you can see, there was a lot of water there and a lot of cars underwater there, so that was a pretty interesting event there. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom out from the metro Atlanta and take a quick look at Florida, where as you can see there's just a lot of detected hail all the way across Florida, extending from Miami all the way up to St. Augustine, and we even had up to 2.2 inches of hail just west of Orlando. And in Palm Coast, we also had a couple spotter hail reports up to quarter-sized hail, and we also had a wind damage report with a couple trees down. So let's go ahead and zoom out from here and take a quick look at Alabama, where as you can see, the eastern portions of Alabama got hit pretty hard with hail, and also in the metro Birmingham area, we had some pretty large hail detections here of 2 inches, as well as some wind damage reports with some trees down and as well as some power lines down. We had quite a few power outages in the Birmingham metro yesterday. So let's zoom out from there and take a look at Louisiana, especially the northern portions of Louisiana, where we had very many wind damage reports and a lot of trees down in this area, and very large hail detections up to 2.2 inches, and we also had 2 inches and a couple other smaller ones the further you go south. And then if we look in Lake Charles, Louisiana, you can see there was also a 70-mile-per-hour wind, which is pretty strong. And we also had a 1-inch hail detection, a 1-inch hail spotter report in this area as well. Okay, so let's move out from Lake Charles and go and take a look at the northern portions of California, and especially just north of Redding, California, where we saw that there was a wind damage report with a tree down on a mobile home, and we also had a 50-mile-per-hour wind recorded, as well as up to 1.7 inches of hail in this area. And then in more northern California, we also had 2 inches of hail detected, which is pretty large for this area. All right, so moving on from northern California, let's take a quick look at South Dakota and Minnesota, where we had some pretty large hail detected across both of these states, moving in from South Dakota into Minnesota. And we had some hail detected up to 2.5 inches and even had some hail reported of about 1 inch in leading into these states. And then we also had some pretty large hail reported just northwest of Minneapolis of 1.75 inches, and we also had a wind damage report with several trees down. So now let's take a look at the national view, and as you can see, the southeastern portions of the United States were extremely busy yesterday, and as well as the northern portions of the United States, and then we had some severe weather in the New England area. So now let's take a look at today's and tomorrow's severe weather outlook. So for today's severe weather outlook, the greatest risk is going to be from the Central Plains extending all the way into the lower Great Lakes. And these risks are going to include isolated tornadoes, some hail, and some damaging winds. And this is going to be the case again for tomorrow. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. All right, so from eastern Colorado extending all the way to, again, the lower Great Lakes, we will also again have isolated tornadoes, some hail, and as well as some damaging winds. So that is your severe weather outlook for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storm mapping website, where we now have all these videos archived and you can now see them, as well as the interactive spotter map. So if you would, please go check that out because that is extremely cool. And that is going to be your TVN severe weather outlook for today. And join us again tomorrow. Thank you. Don't forget to check out Storm Chasers streaming live at tvnweather.com/live. Or if you're on the go, you can watch live Storm Chasers streaming on your mobile device by downloading the TVN Weather app on your Android or iOS device.